This is day 522 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you would like to sponsor a share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today, we are finishing Siman Shin Yud Ches. We're starting in Shin Yud Ches today and going to Siman Shin Yud Tes Sif Beis. Nunei Mutzei Tenkitun Shomayim Oshar Mashkin. You're allowed to put a container of water or other beverages, in a klisheni which has hot water. Klisheni also banana klisheni mevashel because klisheni cooks. Klisheni obviously has lettuce bowl. Klisheni even if it's yatz lettuce bowl mutzar it's permissible. The fish ain't up no so common because its walls are not hot. It gets colder. It's actually like me and kola keep them so clear. However, you should not put the entire vessel inside the container inside the klisheni. Shezo hatmana. That's like hatmana. Insulating, but also Shabbos is the most of hevel, and it's fitting to Atmana on Shabbos, even in something which doesn't add heat. When Shabbos Siman Reish Nun Ches. Bishop Boris in the Sharatzion says that if his intent is only to cool it down, it's possibly meko mokum tzorech to insulate the hot water in the container inside the cold klisheni, the cooler. Klisheni. No. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. Because I don't think she knows about it. Yeah, he's talking about where the cold water is in the container inside. And the cold water is, you want it to, its heat to be diminished, so you put it in a klisheni with hot water. It says if all your intent is lafik also, so then it's possible that you can do, so to speak, hatmana, it's not really hatmana, of the cold water inside the hot water klisheni. Okay. Be as may. Arukh HaShulchan is talking about where you are putting water in the klisheni in order to get hot. So, or hotter. Which is not good. Not yet, but the container should be uncovered on top. The Yeshish are those who say if you draw with a vessel from a kli rishon, that's a ladle. You heard that's in tzaddik basis barbazeh. If you left the ladle in the kli rishon until it itself started steaming, the kli rishon that the ladle is like a kli rishon. Allowed to put a container of water or other beverages opposite a fire in order to diminish their, make them less cold. Vachi name as long as you put a distance from the fire, being a shade of yochalis chamem, but also makam as long as it can't get in that place to the heat of yatzol lesbo. Then it should create which is the same shear as when the stomach of a child would get burnt. Well, the stomach of a baby would get burnt. It's hard to tell what yatzol lesbo is with the hand. Those people whose hands jump up from a small amount of steam. Those only jump up with a heavy amount of steam. When it's standing by the fire in such a manner, you leave it there definitely until it becomes lukewarm. That's also considered to be dissipating the cold. We can't put it close to fire to a place where it can't get the yatzol lesbo. You leave it there briefly. Sharak tafik also in order that the cold should be diminished. Also, it's forbidden because it can come to be heated up. The same thing is true about putting next to a stove or an amakam or kochlin shalano. If the can comes cooking there, mutter is permissible. If it can't come to cook there, asur. It's forbidden. This is also true about fruit which can be eaten raw, like apples, etc. Things which are eaten raw when they're very cold. Things are eaten raw, when they're very cold, you put them opposite the bonfire or in that warming oven to diminish their cold. But also, we can't leave in place where they can come to bishul, of course. Even things that are not imroim, no smokum sheinu chol avoidei chimum. If you put them in a place where they can't get hot, mutar, it's permissible. But no apicleoferis, and even you can put it in a lead vessel. Alpha pishoferis needs to come in hot, even though lead gets hotter a bit. Like Hashem is there. We're not concerned with this. Because that's not his intent. Nun zayin, kosar bina beis yosef sifu zayin. Also, litain sohin alamecha. Now let's put hot water on an urn. I feel like even to make it lukewarm. In a case in which the urn is so hot, if you leave the cold thing there for a long amount of time, would come to cooking. Let's get the yatzah lettuce bowl. Shadin meniach al gabi mechak di meniach kenegam dur. The halacha of putting something on top of an urn is the halacha the same as putting something opposite a bonfire. If you know, cham kol kach, it's not so hot, butar permissible. Ad kan l'shono, and quote from Beis Yosef. Upashlu, it's clear, kavanasa b'tzayin yavesh l'is bashadai. We're talking about something dry and cold, which has not yet been cooked at all. These bashal have already cooked, hamut b'cholinos, altogether. Find it's bar of yavesh. We already explained there's something which is dry. Everybody needs to know bishlach habishul. Therefore, it's clear they're allowed to put meat or fish which are cold on a boiling pot in order to diminish the cold. They says here they'll say about something which is not yet cooked. Or it's been roasted or fried. Masil there's bishul achar or achadim being holds that there is bishul after roasting or frying. Okay, taik chetz shumatugan. I think it's a fried cookie of some sort. Also, tell petito piak. They can't put it on the top of the pot. Vrosachas, which is boiling. You know how they show me they bishul if it's going to come there to being cooked. Avomasho nunimkan basar. Sli givartins, whatever that is, and mavushal, that is considered to be actually cooked, not roasted. With sli and other buses, because sli for this purpose is only meat which is roasted on a spit over a fire. Which we don't have by us. So by us, our roasts, which are made in the oven, are considered to be cooked, not roasted. Mishabura says that a skewer doesn't necessarily have to be on a fire, but any place where it gets roasted from the heat of the oven, I guess even to the side. Well, it does have to be a skewer, he says, but a skewer doesn't have to be specifically over the fire. Okay. Nun ches. A pot, large or small, which you remove from the fire when they are boiling. If they're not yet fully cooked, also like yeast and allowed to mix in them. To make it chayv mumshum bashi, something you mixes is as chayv as it is cooking. If you can't remove things from there with a spoon, should some megas, because by moving with a spoon there is you're mixing, you can mushum basho, and that's cooking. If basho goes but if it's fully cooked, it's permissible. The mixing is not going to make it cook anymore. But if you have wool in a pot, which is dyeing, even though it's already absorbed the color, also like this, but you can't mix it. The more you mix on your dyeing, the better the dyeing is. It's preferable to be careful even by a pot. Not to mix a boiling pot. Even if it's been cooked, it's full measure. Please according to this, we take shulent out of the oven Shabbos morning and it's boiling, and you can't take with a spoon. There's a kasa again. The world has a minute. Take out the beans or the potatoes or the kasa. There's barley of some sort with a spoon. And there's no real issue in this. Why? That you make it medina mutter. So because even mixing is mutter because it's fully cooked. to Medina, according to the strict level of law. The guy is there, it's enough to be careful not to deliberately stir it. You don't have to make machmir, not to take with a cup, with a spoon. The Kasar Rabbeinu Rabbi says, see the test, also latuach shemen b'shuman, not allowed to smear oil and fat alatzli on roast, but oda with opposite the bonfire. I feel it's even was roasted before Shabbos began. Is basho shuma shemen, because the garlic and the oil would get cooked. Pashut gam la'achashon lumi amdu. It's clear also they took it off the fire, but when it's still boiling, also tuchol, you're not allowed to pat it with the stuff shizel mevashel gomor, because that's complete cooking. Kenny shows the hair. Then we have to be careful. Shlo tavach avozos suyos. Don't put this oil and this garlic on roasted ducks. Avozos says b'shum with garlic. Shabbat zotek when the duck is boiling. If you take fat, which has already been cooked, you're allowed to use that to smear on it. There's no more bishul on it. There's no light in that it turns to liquid. Came to him, it's not collecting in obviously in a certain place. If I have a karisu shell, because it's like when you smash salt into a cup which has water. And you can't say, well, the oil is fried. That's complex and there is cooking after frying. It's not true. Now, when you smear it on the chicken or the goose, it's also considered to be tikkun frying. There's no frying after frying. You just shouldn't break it apart with your hands. You should put the fat on the meat. It gets swallowed up on its own. In bracket it says here, those who say that this is also called be'ain to put the oil on the meat, perhaps is not correct. Where it's necessary, you can rely on the first part that you are allowed to put the stuff, smear the stuff on the roast bird. Okay, that's primary halacha. Mr. Bura says that shuman, which is solidified is not. There's no one to say that there's no more bishul anymore since it's already cooked. But if it's not solidified, so then it's still moist, so its moisture is cooled down, so there is bishul achar bishul. Shmuel also writes that you should put the sauce on it little by little. The sharatim, some of the rabbis, you're allowed to break apart the shuman with by hand, especially machmir not to. Sharatim says that if you put the fat on the meat little by little, then it's absorbed, and it's mutter even going to those who are normally machmir. Shin test dine borer zorer maraki, different halachas of separating and sorting. Aleph borer elcham, so less if you remove food from refuse, habe amalacha. It's a primary category. Chen zor baruach, so you scatter and winnow grain in the wind. We brought it in order to separate the grain from the chaff. Habe amalacha is also a primary category. But don't say, well, the wind could be the work, not the person. The Shabbos melachas mashavas also time. Shabbos, the intentional labor is also. When you cause it to be winnowed, Arukh HaShulchan, having a mashavas, then the wind which helps you is part of your deliberate labor. Therefore, in this type of causation, you're liable. In terms of the zikin, when you damage something, this would be called a grama. And grama is looking as potter. It's indirect. That's true in Choshen Mishpat, but it's not true in Arukh Chaim. Instead, Derech Melech says Zviyah, because this is the way Zviyah is done. This is how you winnow. Skamak Shapton, his thought was fulfilled. In Nichle Baruch, he wants the wind to blow that way. Nichle B'chalot Asek Malacha, and it's included in the prohibition of Malacha. Then Avagav, the Gam B'Shabbos Lashin Asiyud Asura Gram B'Shari. Therefore, even though you say on Shabbos, the rise is only when you do Malacha, not causing Malacha. This is not called Grama, because normally doing Malacha. Shabbos Melech Mashavas or Satura, Mashnech Malacha, it's a B'nadam. And Shabbos Melech Mashavas is what people consider to be a Malacha. And winnowing is considered by people to be a Malacha Shlema. Kemaraki Kemak, so too if you sift flour, Lafil Sir Kemak to separate the bran from the flour, have a Malacha. Ushlosha El, the prime categories. Ushlosha El of Shulchan Malachos, each of these is a prime category. Kulai the Mishkan, all these are in the Mishkan, but Malacha Sam and Monim. And the work they did with the herbs, for the spices they used for the clothes, etc. Shabiru v'raktu v'zorum baruch. They separated, they sifted, and they winnowed. Base. Avgav shlosh el shidakti kul mei malachachas. Even though they all one really the same malacha, any one of these will cover the other two as well. L'hafri halachos themselves remove the food from the refuse. Yemes v'gomar kshokein monastis. So shas. The Shah says, Hainu Zareh, Hainu Boreh, Hainu Meraki. Seems to be all the same thing. Any which is in the Mishkan, Avgav Dika the Damile, Chashima. Even though it's something similar to it, we count it as separate. Klomar, meaning, Kevon, the Afinam Lech Shabbos in Mishkan, this is the Shabbos from the Mishkan. And Koshi Shilu Ba Malachos. Therefore, anytime there is a difference between the Malachos, Avgav Yisrael and Echad, even though the one fundamental principle, now called Echad B'Ivnei Hatzvi, so it's considered dependent. Find Borahu B'Yad, and Borer, that's an account of, and here that's that, because Borer is with your hands. Zorah, Baruch, winnowing is with the wind. Mraki, Yimanofa, and sifting is with a sieve. The next Shuvah, the Shlosh, the account of this week. Tzorech LaHasra, Dafka B'Shmon, you have to give the proper Hasra regardless. Yitzira, Bora Mishum Zorah, Baraki, if he warns him he's about to be Borer, that he's going to be Zorah Miraked, Eno Chayav Skila, it's not Chayav Skila, became Kulam, and so to all of them, Nei Shenechlaku Shlosha Babos, because there are three separate categories.